Guys, conference realignment is coming, and I think it's going to come in the form of 4 super conferences. So the thing that everybody's trying to figure out is which conference will be liquidated and sucked up by the other conferences. And the answer to that question isn't as clear as you might think. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day, so even if you don't like this video, you're going to find one that you're going to like. 2025 is the year you need to be circling, because that's when conference realignment will happen. Now, some people think that it's just going to be switching of members. This one's going to go there, that one's going to be swapped over there. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. In my opinion, I think 4 major conferences will be created, which means 1 Power 5 conference will be done, gone away with. The question is, which one? And I know whenever that question gets asked, the answer is immediately, well, the Pac-12 or the Big 12. It's not as simple as that. Let's look at what each conference made in 2019. And the reason I say 2019 is I'm not going by 2020. It was COVID. Everybody took a big hit. I consider that a mulligan year. So let's see what they made in 2019. The conference that made the lowest total revenue was the Big 12. But as far as each conference member, what they get was actually right in the middle of the pack. Their total revenue was $418 million. The average revenue for each school was $38.8 million. Oklahoma, West Virginia, and Kansas, those 3 got $40 million, and Texas got $42 million. So some members do get a little more than others. Next up is the ACC. They made a total of $455.4 million. Each member averaged $27.6 million, except for Notre Dame, of course. They got $34 million. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They're going to get paid more than you, whether you like it or not, no matter what conference they're affiliated with. Next is the Pac-12. They made $530.4 million. That's not bad. Each member averaging $32.2 million. The conference that had the second highest revenue in 2019 was actually the SEC. They weren't number 1. They made $721 million total in revenue, and each member averaged $45.3 million. That's a big chunk of change right there. But the conference that had the biggest revenue in 2019 was the Big 10, by far actually. They made a total of $780 million in revenue. Each member received an average of $55.6 million. My goodness, that is a lot of money. So we can rule out the Big 10 and we can rule out the SEC as far as them being done away with. That's not going to happen. They are big-time money makers. So that leaves us with the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC. On top of that, I'm actually going to rule out the Big 12, and the reason being Texas. The Big 12 will go under only if Texas wants it to go under. If Texas wants the Big 12 to still exist, it's still going to exist. So I'm going to side on the side of Texas right now, give them the benefit of the doubt, and say that they still want the Big 12 to exist. So that leaves us with the Pac-12 and the ACC. If you go by revenue, it's got to be the ACC. They made the second least amount of revenue besides the Big 12, but they have more members, so the members got less money, more people to divvy it out to. And the difference between the ACC revenue and the Pac-12 revenue was close to $90 million. That's a pretty sizable gap. However, with Clemson making an appearance in the playoffs pretty much every single year and winning national championships, I think that lessens the possibility of the ACC. You throw in the fact that the Pac-12 hasn't even made the playoffs in 4 years. That's a long time. To me, the answer would be the Pac-12 is going to be the conference that gets dissolved. Now, we still have 4 years between now and 2025, but the Pac-12 would have to do something amazing between now and then. Pretty much get to the playoffs every single year and win a couple of national championships to make up the ground between the Pac-12 and the ACC. So for me, I think the answer would be the Pac-12. So assuming that it's the Pac-12, what do you do with the members? This is where a lot of swapping could take place, because the Big 12 will have to absorb some, the Big 10 will have to absorb some of the Pac-12, but they'll have to give up some members to possibly the ACC, SEC, and maybe even some to the Big 12. So the biggest problem would be evening out the Big 12 with everybody else while absorbing the members from the Pac-12. I think the Big 10 could end up being like a stretch in the northern part of the country, and the Big 12 could be the lower half half of those Pac-12 members, along with like Texas, Oklahoma, and the lower part of the Midwest. But when that happens, West Virginia would probably have to go to either the ACC or the SEC. Geographically, the ACC makes the most sense, but financially, the SEC would make the most sense for West Virginia. They make a lot of money in the SEC. There is a lot of stuff to figure out between now and then, but it is going to happen. It's definitely going to be a big deal when this happens because a big change will be coming to college football. 4 major conferences with between 16 and 20 members per conference. That's what's going to happen. It's coming, guys. Get ready. And I think this will help teams like BYU, Liberty, Army. I would say Notre Dame, but nobody ever makes them join a conference. I think this should make them join a conference. It has to happen. But for the other independents, it will be a great thing. They can be absorbed into one of those 4 major conferences. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.